Hey, this is Scott Spears, and I'd like to welcome you to what will be a very animated, I think, edition. I know, Glenn, it's all about you here on the Exchange. Well, last time Glenn was here with Mary Ellen and Matt and I, it got a little animated, and we're now into the Trump presidency, so I'm sure it'll be even more animated now. Joined this week by Matt Morgan, 40th Treasurer of the United States, Mary Ellen Withrow, and former candidate for mayor here in Marion, Glenn Coble. We are into the Trump presidency, and other than the episode I just taped with Mary Ellen, which you can get on YouTube by searching Mary Ellen Withrow Scott Spears, this is the first time we've all gotten together since the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump. Mary Ellen and I covered that in the episode we did. But, Glenn, did you watch the inauguration?
No.
No, okay. So you were one of those many people. Oh, it did have low ratings. It was the lowest rating, I think, since Obama.
If I could have made it lower, I would have been glad to do that.
All right. Well, we're off to a good start here, Glenn. Did you see clips of the inauguration? Did you hear the speech?
I refuse to turn the TV on if he's on.
Okay. So the day of the inauguration, what were you feeling? January 20th, 2025.
Anger.
Okay. Let's start here.
And disappointment, really, in the ignorance of the American people. Sorry, that's...
No, go right ahead. That's what we do on this show.
That's the way it
Speak
makes
your mind.
me feel.
That's okay. I don't mind.
You were talking in your earlier show about how people didn't show up, or it seems like people didn't show up. What is wrong with our people?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
No. That's what we want. More you talk, the less I have to do. Matt, what do you think? Did you watch the inauguration?
I watched like half an hour of Trump actually talking, and then I listened to some of it when I was at work, but I did not get to watch all of it now.
What have you made? We're what, 9 days in when we're taping this?
It's been interesting to say the least. I'm not surprised that all the January 6th rioters got pardoned. I figured that would happen. I figured all the violent ones would be pardoned too. I didn't see why.
Now you say that.
I didn't see why they wouldn't.
Say that, but clearly even the FOP did not think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Who endorsed Trump? So somewhere along I did not think they were going to pardon the violent people.
Oh, I figured all of them were getting pardoned.
I'm with Matt. I was positive he was going to.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to distinguish. I'm pretty sure it was going to be a blanket pardon.
I mean, you have to be smart to pick out the people. That
on the first night, you really
go.
I don't know. Mary Ellen, did you think the violent ones would go too?
Well, I can't say that I thought that. I was very surprised when
Me
he did
too.
it. Well, it's just terrible what he did. I mean, it's terrible.
I mean, I didn't even bat an eyelash, if I'm being honest. I heard he pardoned all of them, and I was like, yeah, sounds about right. That's what I expected.
Now, see, but herein lies a problem. Isn't that the problem, though, that we're becoming, I guess, it's normal for something like that to happen. Okay, he said it, he did it. Let's let it roll on by.
Believe me, I did not think it was normal. I just thought it was what Trump would do, because I think Trump is an imbecile.
Yeah, but... okay.
I mean,
were you? Don't hold back. But were you surprised that there was a reaction? I mean, the FOPs have denounced what he did, and the FOPs supported him. Now, I will give people a little interesting insight here in Marion, Ohio. During Monday's city council meeting, the only Democrat left on city council, Ayers Ratliff, asked at the end of the meeting. He said, "I want to talk to our police chief, Jay McDonald, who is the head of the FOP, I believe the president of the FOP in Ohio," and he said, "Listen, this is what the FOP is doing across the United States. This is what the FOP is doing in the state. Do you want us as city council to vote to have support for the FOP against the Trump pardons?" And Jay McDonald stood up and said, "Trump pardoned some bad people. Biden pardoned some bad people. I don't think we need that from city council."
He said violence against police officers.
Violence against police is bad.
No matter what.
But we don't need the proclamation. We don't need the support of city council.
Isn't that what all the kids did when you were fighting with them on the playground? Well, you did it, so I can do it. It just drives me crazy to hear that crap.
Well,
Who said that? Who made that statement?
the police chief. who's also the head of the FOP in
Oh.
Ohio.
What's his name?
Jay McDonald.
Well, they didn't vote for me either, so.
Well, it was interesting, and also I believe it was said that Mayor Collins, who's a former police officer, had liked the post, if I'm not mistaken, Matt, had liked the post supporting the pardons of January 6th. Is that my understanding? God knows I don't want to get this wrong.
I do not remember.
Something was said. Go watch the video.
Yeah, it's on there.
Something was said about the mayor. That,
Yeah.
you know, he was basically not against this, I think was the understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember him bringing up, you know, it has been liked by people in the, you know, the city.
So there you go. So that's on a local level where this January 6th thing goes.
I wonder how long it's going to take people to get upset that voted for him when they start losing their Medicaid, they start losing their child support, they start losing all the things. And it's not just one or two things.
Yeah.
It's dozens of things he's done away with. The only people he's really helped is the rich people, and the poor slobs like me who don't have a lot of money will take the brunt of the hit, I guess.
Well, all of these moves that he's making with the money is to help his rich friends. That's why he's doing it.
Well,
Wouldn't surprise me if he's not putting some of it in his pocket.
Well, yes, he's got that Bitcoin situation.
Yeah, jeez.
That's a little bit scary too.
Yeah. Oh well.
you know, I mean, you know, I find it quite interesting that for someone who ran on a very, like, populist-esque platform that, you know, the CEO of Facebook, so Mark Zuckerberg was there, Elon Musk was there, the CEO of Google was there, the CEO of TikTok was there. There's a lot of billionaires there for a populist.
Am I the only person that is totally disappointed with our rich people showing their cowardice? I mean, they are being absolute cowards.
Oh, no,
They're just supporting him.
You see, I think, personally, I don't know that it's so much as cowardice. I think...
Greed?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that I think
think
that
it's
they're
both.
trying to stroke his ego so they can get what they want done. I think that they see it as more of a like a political move on their part as opposed to kissing the ring or however people want to phrase it.
Well, and I thought it was strange that the governor of Texas was in that second group and not in the first group. I thought that was a real show of something.
Help me out, Mary Ellen. I don't know quite what you're talking about. The groups.
Well, the first group he spoke to was the most important people.
Oh.
And it was all the rich people were there, and the governor of Texas. Then in that second group that he spoke to, he was right in the front row, but still he should have been in the other group. Yeah.
Yeah, what happened was on Inauguration Day, he gave the inauguration speech, which was a little subdued for Trump. I mean, he didn't go over the top.
Was
But
it on the teleprompter?
I think that one was. I think
Yeah.
his first. But then he went into another room of overflow, and he gave another speech, which I don't think was on the teleprompter, and that's where people like the governor of Texas were, and he started then to be more Donald Trump. He started out by saying, these are the things that they said I couldn't say in my inauguration speech, and he went on and did his whole bit.
Oh, I
Was
love it.
DeWine there?
I didn't see DeWine,
I didn't see him either. I wondered if he was there.
but sometimes if he doesn't have a high chair, he can't be seen.
That's
He
true.
does. He needs a.
He's shrinking.
He does. He needs a higher chair. I mean, he had to have a thing to stand on in the debates.
Did he?
He did. He
Uh-huh.
did. So
I had to have something to stand on too in the debates.
to stand on a,
Yeah.
it's like a
A little
step
yeah.
stool.
Mhm.
Yeah. DeWine had one of those.
That doesn't diminish you in any way.
No, but I think DeWine thought it diminished him. And that's why, because he felt as a man he should be
Yeah,
as tall
guys
as
don't
the
like
other
to
man.
be shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's actually kind of interesting because, you know, typically You tend to be more inclined to think somebody who's taller to be like in a position of authority. I think that's where that whole thing comes from.
Somewhat.
That's been proven.
I think that, yeah.
It helps to be taller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Trump stalked the stage with Hillary on it during the debate that they had together.
Yeah.
To prove that he was taller?
Well, I think because
Yeah.
people see that as a source of power.
Well, he was trying to scare her too.
I don't think you can scare Hillary Clinton at
No, I
this
don't
point.
think
I don't
so.
think there's any.
But she didn't react, did she?
She just turned around and looked at him
Yeah,
and then went
right.
on. That was about it. Well, let's talk about this whole thing with the government. The White House directive to pause federal grants on loans raised uncertainty and fears among many who depend on federal aid before a judge intervened Tuesday to temporarily block it from taking effect. President Donald Trump's administration said the freeze would not affect federal assistance to individuals such as Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, student loans, and scholarships.
We'll see.
Well, but it said a pause is necessary to ensure funding for other programs complies with Trump's executive orders, which aims to reverse progressive policies on transgender rights, environmental justice, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. A federal judge blocked the directive just minutes before it was to kick in Tuesday. The order was placed on hold until next Monday while legal wrangling continues, but Trump did rescind, we think, the order today. Now, he said he rescinded the memo. We think that was rescinding the order. Nobody really quite understands what's going on.
Yeah.
But here we go. But people are confused about Medicaid. Now, Medicare was not in it. We'll give him that. It did say that. But Medicaid shut down on Tuesday in 50 states.
Yep.
And until people started to jump up and say, whoa, 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 why can't I get my money here? Why is my bill not being covered? Then all of a sudden it came back into effect. Do you think Medicaid's a part of this?
Well, Medicaid, of the two, Medicaid and Medicare, Medicaid is probably the most severely needed because it's more for
It's much bigger than Medicare.
and it's for the people that don't have the money.
Right.
I get Medicare, and I can get along without it, but I'm glad to have it. But the Medicaid, a lot of the people on Medicaid can't get along without it. Medicaid also, I believe, is the driving force for many health homes.
Nursing homes.
Nursing homes.
Absolutely.
That's the word I was
Oh,
looking for.
that's right.
Yeah,
People don't-
They pay for all the parents of these people that voted for Trump.
Medicare pays for 30 days, and then Medicaid kicks in for long-term stays in nursing homes.
Yeah.
Well, do you think, does anybody realize, I guess, that Medicaid went down yesterday in 50 states? That
Yeah.
I think
doctors...
they do now.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if the people on Medicaid get that it just about went away yesterday.
Well, they reacted.
Did they not turn the radio or TV on?
Yeah, but do you think they get it? Do you think that they get their insurance, their money just about went out the window?
That's what I was basically
You know-
telling Mary Ellen earlier. I'm disappointed with the ignorance of the American public right now.
I mean, I think that, it's almost inevitable. I mean, even if they didn't get it at that exact point in time, I think it would have been inevitable. I mean, like I said, or like I've been saying, I guess, I've heard that people say that like food stamps was and all that kinds of things were frozen as well. But I had said that Donald
Food stamps were not on it.
Yeah, I had said that it was. I
don't think so.
I had said that it was exempt, but there was contention on that, and I said, well, I mean, if he was dumb enough to say it was exempt, and then the first of the month rolls around and people don't get their food stamps, their Social Security, that kind of thing, I think that it would become blatantly obvious that you lied.
But now wait a second. Now
He
see,
doesn't care.
But now wait. Now you say that, but let's talk about what happened just 24 hours ago on Tuesday. He said Medicaid is not in this. Medicaid went down. The portal went down in 50.
For a day, they fixed it.
Just a coincidence that would happen the day that his executive order goes into effect?
Could be.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you fall into that naive group that doesn't. See, maybe this is what it is, and I hate to say that. I mean, I don't mean that personally, but you really believe that the day to the minute that his executive order was going into effect, that Medicaid would just happen to go down in all 50 states, that the portal would just go down, but because he came out and said, oh, wait, no, it doesn't include that. That's good. That's the truth.
We're going to have to get used to having a lot of lies told to us. I'm afraid.
I'm not saying that Medicaid will be in it, but I'm saying the portal going down in 50 states, Mary Ellen, I mean, that's no I mean, I think it'd be a little naive to believe that that's a coincidence.
Right.
I don't know that it was a coincidence, but I mean,
I think it went down and people went, "What are you doing?" And then he said, "Oh, wait a second, this is unpopular. I can't, no, it's not Medicaid. That was just a glitch." If he didn't mean Medicaid, why wasn't that in the paperwork? Why wasn't that in the executive order? The only things that my understanding were in the executive order were Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, student loans, and scholarships. Everything else was on the table. Head Start, cancer research. By the way, if you're in a clinical trial for anything, kiss that goodbye.
You're out of luck, yeah.
If you're in a nursing home, goodbye for that. If you got a kid in Head Start, goodbye. Pell Grants were a part of this. Pell Grants.
I was reading and there were also questions about like public service funding, like police and fire.
Police and fire.
Things like that.
Immigration. I mean, a lot of do you know how many things? How the WIC program was possibly a part of this. Food stamps survived, but maybe the WIC, which the pregnant or the women who, I guess they're not pregnant anymore, but the people who have had I mean, Mary Ellen, for somebody who's fought for women all these years, what about WIC possibly or the funding going away?
Oh.
I mean, that about happened in the United States of America yesterday.
Yeah, they were talking about that and what it meant to somebody in that situation. Yeah, it'd be really bad.
If not for a judge, and
I don't think you. I mean, I guess it's certainly possible. There seemed to, the Senate certainly didn't seem to care all that much. They had no.
That's the
They had
problem.
no
Well, that's
complaints.
what happened. He
But-
didn't go through them.
But
You know, Mary Ellen, I got to
I
ask you this because I'll come to Glenn on this same question. We didn't talk about this earlier, but somebody did say this yesterday, that the Democrats were kind of beaten and sluggish after the election, and that he came in and they still hadn't found their way, and this topic we're on right now gave them their way yesterday. The Democrats came storming back.
Oh, they got upset.
Yes,
Yeah.
press conferences.
I'm
you
glad
can't
they
do
got
this.
upset.
They got they kind of let the January 6th thing go. They kind of let the deportations go, but they did not let that go yesterday. They got on television yesterday.
Well, they were very active in talking against Hegspeth and all the people that are being appointed. I mean, they've been very loud and noisy on that.
I think they were. I just think yesterday, the way they spoke yesterday and the way they spoke to the American people, a lot of people said Trump might have inadvertently started the Democratic Party up again by doing
well,
this.
it might have got them started, yeah.
well, I mean, I think anybody who goes after social services, especially large swaths of them, I think that's going to be rather unpopular. I think that a lot of people, like Glenn had kind of touched on there, like
Who thought it was going to be
rely on
popular?
those.
That's what I'm wondering. Who around Donald Trump said, "Yeah, that's a good thing
Well,
to do"?
I mean, I don't know that. I don't know.
People are
that
going to love that.
I don't know that they thought it was going to be a good thing to do, but I don't know that maybe they thought it was going to have the backlash that it did. It became a thing very quickly.
Very, very quickly. And can you imagine if this circuit court judge did not step in? What would have happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There would have been riots. People would have been striking, guaranteed. There would have been protests.
But do you think, I mean, because we're in limbo. We're taping this on Wednesday night. Now, he might have rescinded it, but the way I read this, I'm totally confused. Because it says he rescinded it. All the news stations are saying he rescinded the order. But I guess technically he's saying he just rescinded the memo. Now, what does that mean? I don't quite understand it. Maybe he just doesn't want to look like he came off something. I don't know.
He's playing you. That's the way he works.
But you think he's going to go for it again? I don't know.
He's
I
going
don't
to
think he
do
will.
whatever keeps us on our heels.
Yeah, but do you really think when this was so unpopular yesterday that he would try to... I think he learned his lesson on this one.
I don't think he's ever learned his lesson.
I don't know.
I think he'll do it time and time and time and time again and just mess with our minds.
I think that I don't know. I think that, like I said, I think that Donald Trump, and I know he's in there for 4 years at least, but I think that if you go after those public services, or social services, I think that there'd be a lot of people who in the the next few years when Senate and House races come up that are rather unhappy with that, and I don't think they're going to be voting in for the Republicans on that ticket.
Well, I'm not going to pick on Matt here, but he just did say this, and I want him to stand behind what he said here.
Okay.
But we've all leading up to this, you've said that Donald Trump can't just do what he wants because we have a Senate, we have a House.
Yes, he
they will
can.
jump in. When this happened yesterday, the people who didn't speak up were the Senate and the House.
Right.
They didn't do a darn thing.
Yeah.
They said, oh, okay. Even though they knew it was illegal, because the judge knew it was illegal, they know that the House controls the purse strings, that Donald Trump has nothing to do with the financials. Not one Republican that I saw, and if there was one, point him out to me, stood up and said, no, you can't do this.
Maybe, we don't know this, but maybe some of the Democrats got the judge to do that.
I think they probably did.
Yeah.
I think they probably did. I know Schumer was out yesterday in full force when that happened. I
Yeah.
did see a lot of Schumer yesterday.
Yeah.
I liked Lindsey Graham's response.
Yeah.
Well, it's only slightly illegal.
Well, that's it. They know.
He's so funny. I mean,
That's not what I call him, but I'm
no,
sorry.
I tell you, he's been the biggest.
Wishy-washy.
Yes.
John McCain's friend, and then
Yes.
up with
He thought he was going to be vice president.
Probably.
You know.
that went out the window.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's just shocking. I mean, they went to the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, when he did this, and said, "What do you think of it?" And he said, "Well, okay."
Yeah,
right.
You know?
they've all said
But
that.
yeah, he doesn't cross Trump on anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's, I guess, what I was coming to Matt, who says we've got these branches of government who are going to keep Donald Trump in check when he tries to do something. What bigger thing could he have possibly done that would have been dictator-ish besides this? And not one of them said a thing.
The court stepped in. The court did their thing.
The Democratic liberal court did.
But the people did something.
but the-
people
The
raised
pe-
hell.
Oh, I've always said the people are the last line
Yeah.
before dictatorship.
And that's it.
But I'm saying, you have said the Senate and the House will not go along with everything just to go along. That if it's illegal, if it's wrong, they will turn on Donald Trump. They didn't.
If I only think that the people of America can make this right. I don't think political parties on either side can make it right.
You said Hegseth was going to be a point for you. He got confirmed. You said they would speak out. They didn't on this. You said that, I hate to bring this up, but this just is the way it is 8 days in. January 6th, pardons. They just, okay. 14th Amendment. Violation of the 14th Amendment. They didn't say send that through us.
Hegseth
Thank
got
God
a
we
lot.
had a judge that stopped that.
Yeah,
Hegseth-
that's them.
Hegseth got rather close. It was a 50-50 with the tie-breaking vote obviously being J.D. Vance.
It was only 3 people who turned against him,
You only needed 4.
and they didn't get it.
Yeah,
And
but
Hegseth's in office.
I was surprised that
And
McConnell was the shocker, I
and you
think.
had you had Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
I think that was,
But they didn't get it done.
no.
You couldn't get 4 people to think that Hegseth was unqualified.
you could, but they were all females
Well.
that he had attacked.
Well, there's that. And here we're going into RFK, Kash Patel, and the whole gang.
I think that the longer and longer it goes on, I think that, eventually, they're going to get tired of being played. And it won't go on forever. Nobody's going to... I don't think that they're going to sit by and be played like fools. I mean, they know... I mean, you think that they just like going along with all this stuff? No, I don't think they do.
They want to keep their
I mean,
job.
Oh, I don't think they like it, but
Like-
yeah, I think...
There was I don't remember who there was. I do believe it was some woman who Republican in the Senate who was originally against Hegseth and then-
Murkowski.
Yeah,
and, yeah, and then
Murkowski.
they threatened to they threatened to primary her,
Oh, I'm sure they will.
and I'm sure they would
I'm-
have.
and I'm sure she-
I have no doubts
But-
that they wouldn't have.
But she feels secure in her job, I think.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me if Murkowski and Collins go by the wayside. I mean, if Trump goes after him enough, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, maybe I think the reason that they did it was because of they felt they can control it. I would judge it on what I was going to do if I could make sure everything was okay where I'm being voted on, and the people were with me. I think that's probably the case there.
Well, it was shocking to me because I did start to think when Murkowski changed her vote, I thought, they know how to count votes. They must
Yeah.
realize
Right.
that he's not going to get confirmed. But he did. Somebody wasn't counting right.
They had already counted her as a no vote. I mean,
Who was counting McConnell as a no vote?
now that was a shock. I
Yeah,
think.
who counted that one?
Yeah,
I think
but isn't he about ready to retire?
Yeah,
I think if Mitch
He's not going to
McConnell,
run again.
that's what he says.
Yeah.
I think
Did
if-
he say that? Yeah.
I think if Mitch McConnell were to come out and act publicly speak against Hegseth as opposed to just being a surprise no vote, I think that there's a fair chance that there would have been a fourth vote there, and I think that there is a fair chance that Hegseth could have not been confirmed, and I think there's a fair chance that RFK won't be confirmed. There was, there's been question about him since he got in there.
Have you heard the
Caroline Kennedy video?
Caroline Kennedy thing?
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, go watch it. What it is,
Yeah.
Caroline Kennedy, the last surviving member of the JFK family, came out, released a video, and said that RFK was a predator. That's how she referred to him. Said that he gave drugs to the young Kennedy kids in his dorm room in the basement.
One of which died from it.
And that apparently he took mice and small animals and ground them up in a blender.
Yeah. What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Your next Department of Health, possibly. Head. Now, Matt, you seem to think he won't get through.
I think there's a fair chance. I mean, this has been one of the. I mean, a whole bunch of the people have been I think Hegseth had an easier time than RFK is going to have.
See, I don't know. RFK is more visual. I certainly think that Trump had to promise RFK something to get him out of the election. And I think the fact that they are taking this right up to the vote, and Donald Trump has not asked him to pull his nomination, like I think went on with Gates, I think is very interesting. I'm not saying he will get confirmed, but it wouldn't shock me. Nothing shocks me after the Hegseth one.
No, nothing shocks me either.
Well, I don't know. I think that there's a fair chance that Matt Gaetz did just step down on his own inclination due to the.
Has anybody
the
said
ethics
they're
report.
voting against RFK yet? Has anybody said, I'm not doing
I
it?
haven't heard it.
I haven't heard of a
No,
one.
No.
And it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
When you're watching this, you'll know.
Let us know, because we think the corruption is really going strong.
Well, and Kash Patel, that's coming up soon as well.
I think
my.
Kash Patel will get in. I don't see him having any issues.
Oh, he's terrible.
But I really don't know anything about him.
Well, you should.
I mean,
Because he lies and he's no good. He's terrible for the FBI.
I know he's been a supporter of Trump for a long time. I know that much, and I know that he
That's
did.
his one qualification.
I know that
Yeah.
he worked in the intelligence field, so at least he's in the intelligence field still.
Well, he had an enemies list,
Oh, he's
Oh yeah.
he's done some bad things.
and I think he also gave money to the January 6th cause.
Yeah.
Says he wants to shut down the FBI and
Yeah.
send everybody home.
Yeah. What's that going to do? You know.
When they come knocking at your door, if you voted for Trump, I want you to tell me why.
Well, here's the word. All of this stuff, we can talk about it now, but when these people get into office, these appointments, then who stops it? This judge stopped this thing with Medicaid and all that, but who enforces a judge's ruling? Somebody's got to enforce it. And if all the people in charge of these government offices are appointees of Trump who will do anything he wants, who's going to enforce it?
What do you think would happen if the courts ruled against Donald Trump and then the Attorney General just opted to not do anything about it?
Oh, you can guarantee the Attorney General is not going to do anything about it.
No,
Well,
he's
yeah,
not.
but if the Supreme Court did for some, I know they're
Well, they've already said anything he does is not illegal. What's the rule on? They already did that.
Well, doesn't mean he can just do whatever. They didn't say he's a dictator.
They didn't give any guidelines as to what he can do and what he can't do. They just said when you're president, if you're acting in an official capacity, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? He's going to say I'm acting in a non-official capacity so he can get charges pressed against him? And who's going to press the charges? The Attorney General? He has a hand-picked Attorney General?
I just think that if something happened to make it to the Supreme Court and then they ruled and it went in opposition to Donald Trump and then he did it anyways, you think
So you're saying Attorney General would press charges against Trump?
if probably not, but what do you think would happen?
The only guardrail is the American public. I truly believe
Exactly.
that now.
Nothing.
I don't.
Nothing would happen.
I think it would any move that would put Donald Trump in a position of like absolute authority would be almost obvious. And once you do that, I mean,
obvious.
it's real easy to get just thrown out because in the next 2 years there's another Senate election coming up. And then
2 years is a long time. We've only been in this for 8 days. And we've got to take a break now. And we're coming back for day number 9 here. We'll be back with Mary Ellen, Glenn, and Matt right after this. Don't go anywhere. Scott Spears back with Matt Morgan, Glenn Coble, and 40th Treasurer of the United States, Mary Ellen Withrow. We do want to take a moment here in this episode and mention that the Big Groundhog program is coming up on Sunday. It's Groundhog Day starting at 8:15 in the morning. We'll run through 11 a.m. The big show happens between 8 and 9 that morning. We'll go live on the air at 8:15. You can listen WWGH1071.com or by downloading the free TuneIn app and searching WGH Talk. You can listen on your smart television, your phone, your laptop, anything you've got, tablet, whatever. And your Alexa, your Google Dot, all you gotta say is, Google, hey Google, play WGH Talk, and there we are, right in your living rooms. What will happen is at 8:15, we will go out with James Anderson, the naturalist. He will talk a little bit about groundhogs. Then we will have County Commissioner Mark Davis, and he will give a proclamation for Groundhog Day. And then at 8:45, the peanut butter jelly truck will deliver the groundhog back here to WGH Talk. Bob Welsh will have a groundhog pizza, and under half of the slices, it will say early spring. This happened 3
He's
years
not going to grind up the groundhog, is he?
No.
Okay.
And on
Concerned about
half
that.
the slices will say early spring, the other half will say 6 more weeks of winter. A large 6-foot groundhog will get out of the peanut butter jelly truck, walk over, point to a piece of pizza. We will pick that up. That's the prediction. Mary Ellen will be there to certify the prediction as she has the last 3 years. And then we will take the head off the groundhog and find out who it is. It has been James Anderson. It has been Miss Ohio, Madison Miller. Who will the groundhog be this year? You will find out at 8:45 on Sunday morning.
And he's a lot more correct than Puxatawny Phil, I understand.
Our groundhog's always been right.
Yeah, he's been right way better
Yes.
than Puxatawny.
Our groundhog, Mary Ellen, you've been there for all these events.
Yeah.
Year 1, James Anderson couldn't sit down.
Yeah,
in
I know. I still remember.
That was
I remember him like this.
that was a great
He
moment.
says, "I can't sit down."
I can't sit down. So the groundhog couldn't sit down year number 1.
Yeah.
Last year we couldn't get the crown pinned on Miss Ohio's head because of the groundhog. Who knows what'll happen this year? But I do know there's been I don't want to spill the beans, but pay attention to media around Ohio on Sunday, because last year the national AP picked up our groundhog story, ran with it, and this year I hear some state media is also interested in the story. And I wouldn't be surprised if the AP listened again, because they picked it up last year and I didn't realize it was going on, because people love to guess who the groundhog is going to be. That's a thing for people. And we'll see what happens on Sunday. Get ready, it's Groundhog Day. Now back to the Trump administration. What we were talking about was, Matt, you were in the middle of a soliloquy there about dictators and Trump can't be a dictator because. So go ahead.
I mean, could he be? Sure. I just don't know that it's likely, because any move that would put him in a place of quote unquote absolute authority would be pretty much obvious. And
it's not.
Well, I know.
I think it's pretty obvious right now that's what he's trying to do.
I mean,
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I'm inclined to agree to some extent, I suppose. But I mean, that's 2 years, like I said. Next elections come around. I think that if he does anything to I think if he overreaches to certain lengths, I think that it'll end poorly when the next elections roll around.
Pardoning the January 6th people, even the violent ones.
Figured he would.
Trying to reverse the 14th Amendment. Trying to get rid of birthright citizenship.
Said he would.
Mass deportations of people who are not criminals in the United States,
would.
not telling us who that is. Trying to get rid of Medicaid, Health, Head Start, WIC, Pell Grants. People are doing cancer research, all trials, without going through Congress or the Senate, trying to get federal employees to resign by February 6th, giving them a pension through the 30th. Basically, if you don't resign, goodbye anyway. You're going to be fired, you aren't going to get the pension. So there you go, putting Hegseth in charge of the Department of Defense, the only other person that can deploy the military other than the president, and he got confirmed by the Senate. That's not any concern for you. This is not abnormal.
Did you hear what Hegseth did about Millie?
I didn't.
He took his picture down,
Yeah, I saw that.
and he can't fire him because he's been pardoned, hasn't he?
He got a pardon from Biden.
And so it'll be interesting to see.
But he's taken away his protection.
Yes, that was it. His protection. Yeah, I'm watching that because, Hegseth. What is his name?
Hegseth.
Hegseth.
Hegseth. How horrible is he going to be?
Well, and what would RFK Jr. do?
Yeah.
Apparently he's against antidepressants. A lot of people are on those in this country. I don't know.
I may become that way.
Yeah.
You're headed toward the antidepressants.
We'll all be on him before long, probably.
RFK is an interesting fellow. To my understanding, he wants to slow down research on actual pharmaceuticals, and he wants to go more into experimental medicine. I had heard that he was talking about the medical benefits of mushrooms at one point in time.
Oh yeah, well, mushrooms, yeah.
I guess I'm confused though because
They taste good.
Not like psychedelics.
I like mushroom soup.
I'm with you.
Mushroom dressing is pretty good.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Well, mushrooms are good.
I like mushrooms. I like mushrooms on a pizza.
Yeah, I do too.
I think those are very good.
Yeah.
I had canned mushrooms in an omelet the other day. Those were very good.
I put them in all my omelets.
Yeah, I had a nice omelet. This is a nice piece of subject.
Well, we're into good things.
We got to
here.
get to.
Yes.
We got to be happy about
Yes,
something at this point.
I think, and when you talk about food, people get happy.
They certainly do, and when
Yeah.
you give food away, they even get happier. I got really hungry for an omelet, and I made it with eggs and shredded cheese and mushrooms and chopped ham and
Ooh, that's good.
And I put one other thing. What did I put in it? One other. Onion. I put a little bit of onion in there.
Gotta put it
I'll
in.
tell you, that was a very good
Yeah.
omelet.
It'd be pretty hard to make an omelet without eggs.
I said eggs, didn't I? Didn't I start with eggs?
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
said
but,
eggs.
I figured it went without saying. I didn't think you need to add eggs as an ingredient to your omelet. I mean, I figured, it was an
Well,
omelet.
I'm trying to give it for the people at home
I
what
mean-
they would like to do if they'd like to make this omelet. That's how you do it.
I make
Okay,
an
well,
omelet.
then you gotta have some measurements in there.
I make an omelet for my wife 1 or 2 days of the weekend, and I have all of what you said, and then I also add green pepper and a couple other red pepper a little bit, and jalapeno a little bit.
A little holiday. It was very. The cheese really set that thing off,
Oh, cheese
and
is
the
good.
mushrooms.
Okay, let me ask.
Yes.
What kind of cheese?
I think Colby.
Oh,
I used
okay.
Colby, and I think I did it. I made a few of them because they were very good. I also have used American. Yeah, and mozzarella is good too.
Yeah, we use mozzarella or cheddar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you use, Mary Ellen, when you
Cheddar.
make? Oh, you do cheddar with. What's your favorite type of omelet?
Well, I very seldom make an omelet.
You'll have to come to our house on this weekend.
We're all making omelets.
I'm into soft-boiled eggs and toast instead of an omelet. I
good.
have been eating that lately because I think eggs are very important.
Yes.
Of course, they're in an omelet too, but anyway, I like the soft-boiled eggs.
Do you have anything on your toast?
No, I just tear the toast up and put the soft-boiled eggs on the toast.
She could be my wife.
That's nice. Well, there you go.
like that.
Well, you never know. Food is nice, and I think cooking's nice, and I think it's an art form. I think it's right up there with painting and all those things, because people who cook and present food, that's really something.
Yes.
There's a lot that goes into that.
Some people are really good at it.
When I was making the omelet, here's a little thing you want to try to avoid. Don't use a small skillet.
Yeah.
Get out a big skillet, because it's hard. Once you get all that stuff on there, it's hard to flip it if you're in a small skillet without getting it all over the place.
I always thought, and I was watching, not Jacques Cousteau, that French, you know who I mean?
Yeah, I know who you
Okay.
mean, the woman.
No, the guy.
Oh, the guy,
Yeah.
yeah, I know who you mean.
I was watching
yeah.
him make an omelet the other day, and I have always, tried to make it nice and smooth and then just flip it over. He shakes the pan and
Yeah.
stirs it around. It basically scrambles the egg
Yeah.
and then rolls it over.
Yeah.
So I did that and really
You
helped.
like it better that way?
I did, because it gave more, I guess, more eggy flavor.
Yeah. Well, I like to see the yolk. That's what I like about the soft-boiled egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife likes
And you
it.
have to spray the pan too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people forget to spray the
And
pan.
you have to spray the thing that turns the egg too, because
Spatula?
otherwise, because it'll sometimes stick on the egg.
It
I'll
does,
tell you,
yeah.
it's you know, if eggs are one of the worst things to get out of a pan
Yeah.
skillet if you do not spray it
Yeah.
with some kind
Yeah.
of margarine or butter or whatever.
When I was growing up, they told you there was a period where eggs were terrible for you. You would die of
I
cholesterol
know.
instantly.
People were eating either the yolk or the white. Which was it?
I think it was the yolk was
The
bad.
yolk, the yolk was bad, and they were eating the white.
Yeah.
Think of all that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I like the deviled eggs, but boy, they are hard. I just can never get the shell off correctly.
Well, I tell you, I don't
What a
know.
struggle.
I've had some wild experiences with deviled eggs lately. I don't know what's going on.
I
Can
think
you get the shell off okay?
Yeah, I get the shell off okay, but then it goes crazy after I make it into.
Really?
crazy.
Well,
well, it's
after
a deviled egg.
Yeah, it goes to the devil.
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah. Well, it should be a very simple thing to do.
Yeah, it should be.
Yes, but it wasn't. I had the strangest experience the last time. In fact, you saw him. Scott.
Oh, I did. You did it for the cookout. Yes.
Got off those deviled eggs that I.
Oh, but the waffles though are very, very
Oh, those
good.
are some good
Those
waffles.
are delicious waffles. There's something
they
about
are
those
good.
waffles.
Well, they're soft.
Yep. And the gumdrop bars. Those are my two
They've
favorites.
got a lot of eggs in them. Is the reason.
You guys are
So-
making me hungry.
Yeah, I could go for a waffle right
Waffles
Waffle,
are very
waffle.
good.
an awful waffle.
But I'll tell you, those gumdrop bars, there's something about those.
I haven't made those for a while. I should make those again.
They are delicious. Because you think they're going to be more sugary, and they're not. They're very good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed those. Now, see, Glenn, we got off this. We were good there.
I
We
feel
all
much
got in a
better.
happy. Yeah. So, what about you? How do you feel about deportation and the 14th Amendment?
what a swap up there.
Well, speaking of eggs, how do you feel about deportation?
Deportation.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Deportation of the
Well,
of
what
the
you make
Mexican,
Well,
or the Hispanics.
a lot of people getting deported right now. ICE is in a lot of communities. There's a lot of talk about that.
Well,
the church in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian church, praying for people.
Let me tell you about it. Our little group, Citizens for Democracy, has had an immediate increase in number of people.
What are you up to?
And, well, we're up to that. We have decided to do certain things. We're looking for churches that will work as sanctuaries. We are putting out a little card that will tell, and we're going to take it to several places that we think will have a lot of Hispanic people, and we're going to just leave it for them. And on one side, it tells them how to handle an ICE agent if they show up.
How are they supposed to?
I didn't. Well, I can pull it up in my phone, but I can't remember. I'll do that while we're
Yeah,
talking.
okay.
And on the flip side, it's done in Spanish, so they get it both ways. And so we're handing those out. We're doing whatever we can do to counter the ICE movement, I guess. So
Has anything happened in Marion?
I think so. I mean, we've seen a decline in the Latino population in the grocery stores.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I don't know. I can't say it's due to anything in particular, but
Yeah.
well, the reason why we started doing this is
You've had some?
we've had some people ask us about it.
Yeah.
I'll look it up and I'll
now, can you get in trouble for that?
maybe I don't care.
Oh,
Is,
Well,
it, is it the right thing to do
I'm
as
not.
a human?
I'm interested in what churches would help you out on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have talked to a couple of them, and they didn't want to talk about it because it was kind of a private thing. Our church will do what we can do for our people. But I've tried to get in touch today with the Marion Council of Churches and see what their position is on it. And
Yeah.
As I think I mentioned on this show before, my son and daughter go to a Mennonite church down in Columbus who were sanctuary for a Hispanic lady for about 2 years. And she's now asking if she can come back because she's getting pushed a lot. But I don't know where I was going with that, but I just wanted to mention that we're going to try to help everybody we can. Our little Citizens for Democracy group, in ways that maybe some people won't like. But
Well, I
we
was
don't
just
care.
curious because I don't know. I mean, do they consider that aiding people and abetting people? I don't know.
We're not doing anything illegal. Now, if we hid them, if we gave them sanctuary, then you might get in trouble. But quite frankly, we don't give a damn.
The mayor of Columbus has been very vocal on that they're going to try to protect them.
Yeah, I really don't understand. These executive orders, I think, are laws. I don't think you could get in the way of an ICE agent taking away somebody.
Well,
No,
we're
I mean, there's
we're
still
thinking about
federal
doing
agents.
that.
They're still federal agents. I would not recommend that.
Right, and I'm not sure how sanctuaries work anymore. I mean, I know that local law enforcement, if they have a search warrant, they can still go into a church. I mean, that's one of the big questions right now about, churches and schools. Are they going to go in there? Well, they can if a judge grants them a search warrant, and in Ohio, I don't. Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
see, churches, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know.
Do you think a principal is going to go up and say you can't come in?
No.
I don't think that would
I
happen.
just think that there's a bigger possibility for a negative outcome there. Like, I think it'd be a little rough to see some kid you went to school with for the last couple of years get pulled out of the classroom by a couple of ICE agents.
Well, yes, it's not going to be pleasant.
That's
but
I think that'd be a little rough.
Maybe.
I think that you should probably not take it to the schools.
okay. We'll see what happens.
Let me read this. Do you mind if I read
No,
this?
go right ahead.
This is what this little slip tells. You do not have to. This is if an ICE agent shows up at your door. You do not have to open the door. If you do, stay calm, and because that is your right. Ask what they are there for. Ask for an interpreter if you don't speak English, if they ask to enter, ask if they have a warrant signed by a judge, and if so, ask to see that warrant. If they do not have a warrant signed by a judge, you may refuse to let them in. Ask them to leave. If they force their way in, do not resist. Tell everyone in the residence to remain silent. If you are arrested, you have the right to remain silent and not sign anything until you speak to a lawyer. Those are the main things. And this little card that we're going to hand out, on the flip side of it, it says all that in Spanish. So that's what we're trying to just let people in this town. And I know there are a lot of people that say, there are no Hispanic people in Marion. Bull.
Oh,
There
no,
are
there's
a lot.
there are a lot of Hispanic people in Marion.
And
Be surprised.
yeah, and I think if we can just get the word out of what they can do and what they shouldn't do, that'll help. We're just trying to help. We don't know what else to do.
Well, is it going to be the people? I mean, do you take to the streets? I mean, at what point? I mean, like I say, we're only 8 days in this thing.
I think eventually it will go to the streets.
Well,
I'll be there with you.
go to the streets like what, protesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's. I think that it'll happen at some point. I think that inevitably like you guys have said now, I think that the voters are the last line of defense.
The reason, just to bring this up, I don't know how much time we have left, but the reason a lot of churches become sanctuaries is because it's not a good look for the police to cart preachers away to prison. But they can do it. And if that society, if they violate a search warrant, they can cuff people. Oh, yes. If a preacher and his congregation would block the doors of the church to they could get them for obstruction of justice if they have a search warrant.
I see.
My father, as you know, was a Methodist minister, and we were in South Bend, Indiana in the 60s when the civil rights things were going on, and Dad did offer our church as a sanctuary, and he was warned against it until Father Hesburgh, who was the president of Notre Dame, stood behind him, and they left Dad's church alone.
But would that happen today?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. And I'll tell you what, this guy who's in the border czar, he has no...
What's his name?
Well, I forget his name, but boy, I've heard him talk.
I don't like his looks.
He's got... Well, I'll tell you, Selena Gomez, the star, she was on one of the social media platforms crying
Yes.
about what happened, and she took it down because people were calling her hysterical. And this border czar, he did not care one bit. He said,
About what?
about her crying, he didn't care. He's going to do his job, and that's what's going to be done. And it's going. He said it's going to get bigger, and
Why
it's
is
going
she
to get
crying?
because Selena Gomez, I believe her grandmother was an immigrant.
She had come in on a truck.
Yeah. So she's sad seeing people are being deported. I don't know if people realize this. Listen, I don't think people realize their Medicaid is in jeopardy. I don't think people realize Head Start's in jeopardy. I don't think people realize WIC's in jeopardy. I don't think people realize that people are being deported even as we speak all across this country. Do people know what's going on outside of their living room?
I think people are widely underinformed, and what they are informed on is very unimportant. Like, people are very informed on, like a lot of people could tell you an awful lot about famous people and things like that, but couldn't tell you anything about politics or politicians.
Most people are informed by their friends, and their friends are basically have the same opinion that they have.
We'll also pay attention. The White House press secretary said in the last couple days that they're going to start letting podcasters and people from different media outlets in the White House press room. They're giving back press credentials.
Bet they wouldn't let my podcast go there.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Oh, I can guarantee
Well, I
it.
think we should take a trip down to D.C.
No, I'm just saying there's a reason this is being done, and it's to take the journalist who will tell the truth and muddy that water and not give them access to press briefings. I mean, this is not just a coincidence. Trump's not saying, well, I think we should just have more media.
No.
This is let's get people in there who will be more favorable toward us. And if the word, as you're talking about misinformation, misinformed, well, where are you going to get information?
I did not
Listen,
say
Jim,
misinformed. I said underinformed.
What's the difference?
Misinformed is you're either you've
been told a lie.
Yeah, you've been told the wrong thing.
Oh, how many people in
underinformed
You know what?
is you just
I'll
don't
tell you
know.
something. I was talking to somebody who was clearly underinformed on the election, and they told me they voted for Trump. And I said, why? And they said, well, Biden has Alzheimer's, doesn't he? Now, that person was misinformed and underinformed, and I don't believe you get underinformed unless you're misinformed to a certain degree. I don't think you just go out there in the dark and haven't heard anything. Do you think, Mary Ellen, it's possible nowadays?
You know, most people won't tell you why they voted for Trump.
Right.
I think a lot of people.
No.
People won't even tell you if they
Their
did or
friends-
didn't.
No.
I
Their
think
friends
a lot of
did.
people
Yeah.
go to the ballots, like maybe on presidential things, but I don't know. I mean, I think people still vote R&D on basically everything else. Though you think I mean, why else? I highly doubt the majority of people know. You could ask the majority of people who the senators are, and they couldn't have told you.
How about the new senator?
Transgender?
Huh?
The transgender one?
No. No, the
I forgot what his name is.
Houston.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
our new senator.
Yeah.
It took him right out of the governor's race.
Well, and he was very smart to go that direction because I don't think he would have won.
Well-
He's been in the job all this time and he didn't do anything.
Well,
He's
the
got
first
some
ener-
first energy
I was
problems.
about to say he's the first energy shill.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Oh
Well,
no,
see-
I don't know that there's a maybe about it at this point. I think he's the first energy shill.
Well,
I don't know.
DeWine was too, but he got
Yeah.
elected.
Yeah, DeWine flew right into the governor's mansion on that.
Well, but nobody knew about it until like now, and DeWine's like, well, I'm done anyways. It doesn't matter to me.
Glenn, what's one word to describe the Trump presidency so far?
Ooh, it would be a very nasty word, so I'm going to keep that one to myself.
What's it begin with?
No, I'm not even going to tell you that because it'd make it way too obvious.
First letter.
No, I can't do
I'm
that.
making it on, I know. I egged it on a little bit there. Well, you let us on, Glenn. We were curious as to what the word might be.
Well, I'm going to give you a word: disappointing.
Really? Disappointing. That's interesting. That would...
I'm disappointed in my party.
I never expected anything good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I'm not
Disappointed.
disappointed.
Disappointed, right.
I
Disappointed
did
would...
expect good.
Did
I,
you?
I really thought that
didn't.
Kamala was going to win.
Well,
No,
I
we're
thought
talking
she
about
was
the-
going to win, but I didn't. If he got elected, I didn't think. I mean, I didn't expect him to do anything good.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Trump presidency.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the election.
Yeah, okay, well,
So how do you feel about that? One word about that.
scared.
Yeah.
Scared. Well, what do we do about it? Because you don't want people to live in fear.
We do exactly what the bishop of the D.C. diocese came out and said.
Was it Boodle? Her name Boodle?
Buddy.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She gave such a great.
Yes, she did.
homily.
And she came under the fire.
Yes, she did. But we've got to learn to understand people that disagree with us and give each person, and I know I've been trying to do this, give them their due and give them respect and move on. That's what we've got to do, I think. I'm not sure I'm able to do it yet, but I will be.
You try.
I'm
Keep
working
trying.
at it.
Yeah.
Well, you can't go backwards.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
The United States has gone backward.
So now, wait, I'm confused. So what do? We don't go backwards.
No, move forward with empathy, with concern, with help, without being that mealy mouth stuff. Nobody likes to hear my Democratic friends wringing their hands and stuff like that. You've got to be firm and strong and move forward with appreciation for your fellow American, I think.
Don't you think calling Trump a dictator was not mealy mouth, which is what most Democrats did?
Well,
Say if you vote for this guy, he's going to be I don't think they were mealy mouth during the election.
If I didn't say that, and I didn't hear anybody say that,
Well,
but
I heard people say
if they
it.
did say
there were a
that,
couple people called him fascist.
they said it because he said he was going to do that.
But that didn't happen.
Still saying it.
Yes, he did.
Well, I mean, he said on the first day. I mean, I guess that didn't happen.
and it is happening.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
That's the way I see
Well,
it.
I don't know if he's a dictator yet. I don't
Well,
know.
anybody that did what he did yesterday is trying to be a
Trying
dictator.
to. Yep.
Trying. And now I think certainly he's tried to break some laws here. Certainly the 14th
He has
Amendment,
broken
and the
laws.
judge stopped him from doing
Taking
that.
the people out of prison is definitely wrong.
Yeah. Especially the really bad ones.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I
he-
don't care, any of them. They all were there doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I don't care whether they had a poll or not.
Yeah. Some of them.
Well, and I think,
Yeah.
certainly he got some blowback on that. And I think that's interesting, though, that it is the people. It's certainly not the Senate. It's certainly not the House. It's not the Supreme Court. It's the people that are causing him to have to go back on things.
Those three organizations you talk about are filled with cowards. That's
Yeah,
all
but
I
it is
can think.
interesting that we're 8 days in and he's had to pull back on all the social services
Thank God.
mandate because of the people.
Thank
he
you,
had
people.
to, the police officers are going after him. That's not he doesn't like that very much, but he's already done those pardons, so he can't unding that bell. He is getting blowback on the deportations. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people are coming at him and stopping things.
I'm surprised he hasn't blamed the Democrats for allowing all those people to go out of jail.
Well, I'm sure he does in private.
He'll get to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the deportations, what do you think about the 30,000 immigrant detention center that Trump is supposedly going
Down
to
at-
open at Guantanamo?
Yeah, I think that's just absolutely.
What's he doing?
He's going to open up an immigrant detention center at Guantanamo.
Oh, he is?
That's what he says.
Yeah, that's what he
So
said.
far.
I did not hear that.
For 30,000 of them.
Why?
But I don't think that's happened yet.
No.
And-
I think he's
who's he
sent him
going to
back.
put in there?
Well, that's what I don't know. That to me sounds a little ambiguous. When that happens, we'll talk about it. I don't know that will happen.
All I'm saying is the man said an awful lot of crazy things that he's done, like they changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Did somebody say
he tried to
today
take away
that
the
Google was
birthright?
calling it the
Yeah.
Gulf
Yeah,
of
they did that.
they
America?
changed it.
They
I
did it.
guess. Yeah.
Well,
Can
I'm
you
not going to
believe
use
that?
Google anymore.
Oh well, I mean the Google CEO was at Trump's
Yeah.
was at Trump's inauguration. What do you think was going to happen?
Well, somebody needs. Well, I'm not going to say that. I go to jail for saying what I'm about to.
What?
I think he was
No.
about a
You want to
reference.
say something?
Look, I think he was
Had to
about,
do with bombs.
No, don't talk about bombs. Good Lord. We'll all be in the can. We don't need that.
And Mary Ellen told me to do
No,
it.
No, you have to be peaceful in whatever you do, and you have to be, calm, and we certainly don't advocate any type of violence on this program. It's calm and peaceful.
And direct.
That's right.
And firm.
Okay, as you can be from a distance. People, Mary Ellen, how do you feel about the where we're headed? Do you think it could get better?
And I think it's bad, and I don't see it getting any better. No.
Well, maybe we'll see what the groundhog has to say on Sunday. We have to take, I guess, things to look forward to and hope that they bring some joy along the route. All right, for Matt Morgan and Glenn Coble and the 40th Treasurer of the United States, Mary Ellen Withrow, this is Scott Spears saying, be peaceful. We'll be back next week with another episode of The Exchange. Stay tuned.